Welcome to today's episode of Tech Insights, where we dive into tools that make our coding lives easier and more efficient. Today, we're exploring a fascinating tool called Just. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is Just? Well, Just is a handy command runner that allows developers to save and execute project-specific commands effortlessly. It aims to simplify the way instructions are written and executed, stepping away from the complexity often found in traditional build systems like Make. So let's break down what makes Just so unique. First off, one of its standout features is its use of recipes. Think of them as sets of instructions similar to a cooking recipe. These recipes are stored in a file called JustFile, which carries a structure reminiscent of Make, but without the associated idiosyncrasies. Imagine this. You have a big project with several commands you have to remember for testing, building, or deploying your application. In comes Just, allowing you to define these commands clearly. For instance, instead of typing long commands every time, you can write a recipe like bash build cc main.c-o output. Now with Just, all you need to do is type just build, and essentially, you get to cook your project without hassle. It's kind of like having a personal sous chef, isn't it? They know exactly what goes where and how to prepare everything, so you don't have to memorize the full menu. Exactly. Another exciting aspect is that recipes can accept command line arguments. For example, if you want to build a specific target, you can do something like bash build target, echo building target. When invoked, this recipe can dynamically alter based on the target you specify. Host, that means if you're working on different features or versions, you can adapt your builds on the fly without needing multiple scripts. Absolutely. And if you encounter an error along the way, Just offers very informative error messages, which is a lifesaver in debugging. On top of all this, it supports a range of operating systems, Linux, macOS, and Windows, without any additional dependencies. You can even create environment variables using .env files, which makes configuration super simple. Instead of diving deep into project settings every time, Just loads these variables for you, so you can focus on development. Host. That's a tremendous time saver. Now, for those of us who aren't quite experts in command runners, how does Just handle errors in troubleshooting? Great question. Just excels in providing specific error messages and context about the failures, which makes troubleshooting straightforward. It even warns you about unknown recipes or circular dependencies before you run them, essentially helping you avoid potential disasters before they can happen. And let's not forget about the aliases feature. This allows users to create alternative names for commands, making it even easier to navigate through your scripts. Host. That sounds like it would save a lot of typing, especially for frequently used commands. Exactly. Just like having shortcuts on your desktop, but for your command line tasks. Plus, there's no limit to the programming languages you can use in your recipes, which is fantastic for diverse teams. Before we wrap up, let's discuss how to get started. Setting up Just is very manageable. It's available through various package managers like Homebrew on Mac, APT for Debian, or even Cargo for Rust users. Installing it usually just involves one command. So, for our listeners who want to give it a try, I suggest looking for the Just installation instructions for your operating system and creating your first Just file. Experiment with creating a couple of recipes that suit your workflow. Thanks for sharing this insightful overview of Just. It's exciting to see how this tool streamlines command execution and helps developers focus more